Good morning. Hello, hello. Okay, seems to be working well. Okay, good morning, Pips Apprentice. How are you doing? It is Monday, the 4th of December. Good to have all of you back. Hope you had a super weekend. Hey, David. Good morning. Hey, Diana. How are you doing? Give it a minute before we get started. In the meantime, if you're new to the session, drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're here, let me know that where you're joining us from. Love to find out. Saw news come in. Okay. Hey Jordan, hey Nicola, how are you doing? Hope you all have been trading well. We saw quite a big move on gold, and actually across the board on Friday night. So yeah, a lot more trades than I expected on Friday. So hope you guys had the same good profitable trades on Friday as well. Okay, so let's get started again. If you're new to the session, drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're here, let me know where you're joining us from. For all the regulars, a big welcome back. Thank you for joining me on this daily market analysis. It is the 4th of December. We're not very far away from Christmas now. So, hope you guys trade well all the way through to Christmas. There is a bit of a news to tell you guys about, but I'll do that later into the week. So do make sure you stay tuned for that. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat, let me know. And the link for the Discord channel is there. If you haven't already, do make sure you join us on Discord. Yes, Bitcoin it's not going up, it's rocketing up, right? So it's really climbing new heights. 150% up for the year, I think, from one of the headlines I was reading. So big moves on gold, on Bitcoin. We can look into all of that. Hey Christina, how are you doing? Hey Surin, good to see you. What was I going to say? I was going to say something else. No, okay, that's it. All right, so quick disclaimer, any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material. Please do your own due diligence. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, and your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. All right, with that, oh, and if you can, please help me out. Do make sure you click that like and subscribe button, whether you're on YouTube, TradingView, Trading.live, or anywhere else. Okay. Hey VJ, how are you doing? Hey YJ, how are you doing? Okay, now let me scroll back to what happened since the last time we spoke. Okay, so on Friday, well, we had our session on Friday afternoon, 3 p.m. GMT plus 8 as usual. On Friday at 9:30, we saw Canadian employment numbers release. Unemployment rate climbing slightly from 5.7 to 5.8, while employment change went quite a bit higher from 17.5. Expected a small drop on employment change to 14.2, but it got released at 24.9. So a big change there in terms of Canadian employment data being released. What we saw on the CAD on release, oops, that was there somewhere. Okay, on release of the CAD, that was at that time, because we did see the dollar drop, right? We did see the dollar first, let me zoom in a bit, at that point push up, and then after that turn back down. We saw a bit of a different move here on the CAD. On release of the news at 9, we saw the CAD drop, right? One is because, well, mainly because employment change came out a lot stronger than expected, from 17.5 to 24.9. Then at 11, p.m. GMT plus 8, we saw the ISM manufacturing for the US stay at 46.7, was expected to go up slightly to 47.9, didn't do that, stayed at 46.7, still well in that contractionary phase, and that's why at 11 you saw here that the dollar topped out at about 103.70 and started pushing to the downside. There's also other reasons why it started pushing down more significantly at midnight GMT plus 8, and then further down after that. Okay, so what else happened was, let me do that. At midnight, we had Fed Chair Powell speaking. I did not expect him to say too much, but he's, as usual, he rose to the occasion and continued to surprise everyone, where he spoke at navigating pathways to economic mobility at the Spelman College in Atlanta. But what he said at that point was, let me bring that up, opening remarks. Right, Fed premature to speculate on when policy may ease, appropriate to tighten more if it becomes appropriate, prepared to tighten more if it becomes appropriate. Unemployment up but still historically low. Fed has made considerable progress lowering inflation, so that's one of the key things. Made considerable progress lowering inflation. And then recent inflation declines are welcome but must continue. Risk of increasing too much or too little are becoming more balanced. Okay, and then that was not the major headline that you get from that. Oops. And that does all that. Okay, we come to this point here where he was at a round table discussion and he said, no, I don't want to read that one. Sorry, let me just find that headline I was trying to find ahead for you guys. There you go. Was it that one? Saying that cause of cutting rates premature, more hikes could happen. No, it wasn't that one. I think there was, I can't find it now, but there was a line where he was saying that the risk of over tightening there's an increased risk of over tightening, right? Which ends up bringing about the idea or the sentiment to most of the markets that, hey, Feds are, increasing the likelihood of rate cuts, despite what he said, right? Despite what he said about, possible rate increases if required and all that, there was the talk or the sentiment, the idea that he was trying to, or he somehow conveyed to the markets that maybe the Feds are looking to cut rates soon, or they might be looking to cut rates. So with that, what we actually saw was a big drop in the dollar index down towards that 103 level that we highlighted. In this case, with that 50% retracement level and that trend line, it came right there and then it bounced a bit to the upside, it retraced back up again. Okay, so that was what happened since we spoke on Friday. Jordan says Bitcoin halving is coming. I'm pretty sure, I think it was 2024, sometime during that period. Not full bottle on that, but yes, I do remember reading something about Bitcoin halving coming. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? Hey Erwin, new week, fresh mindset. Hope everyone has a good weekend and a good week ahead. Yes. Hey Desiree, good to see you. Hey Gorju, hey D-Train. So with that, what we have seen, the overall trend right now, not the overall trend, overall sentiment right now is that we're looking at the Feds possibly heading into, or the market's anticipating more rate, not more. We're heading into the scenario where the markets are anticipating that the Feds could be looking to cut rates early next year. Okay, if you haven't already, I will just do a quick plug of the thing that I wrote up for you guys. If you've read it, tell me, put it into the chat, let me know that you've read it. If you haven't, and also what you think about it, do you think it makes sense? If you haven't read it, then you should. Okay, let me just bring that up. So I did a quick article here for you guys on when I think, or when it looks like, based on the previous data, the Feds could cut rates, right? When the Feds could cut rates, we looked at the recent times, 16th month of hiking rates, what happened so far in 94, 95, when they cut rates, they took 12 months of rate hikes, 5 months of rate cut, 2020 to 2021, 11 months of rate hike, 8 months before a rate cut. Global financial crisis in 06, 07, 24 months of rate hike, 15 months of rate cut. And then 2018, 2019, we saw 36 months of rate hike, waiting 8 months before a rate cut. So in general, what we saw was about an average of a 9-month lag before we see a rate cut from the Feds, right? Since the last rate hike, about average of 9 months wait time before they start cutting rates. The last rate hike was in July last year or this year. So 9 months from then looks like it could be April, but there's no meeting in April. So we're looking at a possible 50% chance of a rate cut in March, based on CME data there, and a 77.8% chance of a rate cut in May, based on the CME data there, right? And there's also one point that they don't cut rates just because it's at that level. They don't cut rates just because of feeling or market sentiment that they should cut rates. They cut rates also because if you go through the whole article, it goes into all the details. It's not just being too high or having to cut rates. It always comes with either an economic and or an external factor that leads to that decision to cut rates. So, you know, my concern right now is what are the other factors that could drive the rate cuts. Okay, I'll put that link in there for you guys. That's a long link, but I'll put it in there for you guys as well. So do make sure you check that out if you haven't already. Jordan says April. Yeah, it looks like it's April, but there's no meeting in April, so maybe March or May. Maybe. We're not saying that it's for sure, but maybe. Hey Ahmed, how you doing? Desiree saw some news of US warship being attacked. Send us a link. I haven't seen that headline, but send us the link on that. Okay, so with that, the idea now is that, you know, everyone's gone slightly shifted the mindset towards when could the Feds cut rates, timeline, more sentiment towards a rate cut. That's why we're seeing that weakness in the dollar right now. With that, for today, what do we have? Not much, right? We do have the Swiss with their CPI data to be released in just about 15 minutes time. And this is month to month. Oh, the link is not. The link is on Discord as well. So if that link doesn't work, I have no idea why. Check out the Discord link there. Okay, but let me try and see whether I can get a better sharing link. Give me 1 second. Oh, 30 seconds. Let's see. Can't find out how to get that link. Okay, there we go. Okay. That's the same link. Okay, I hope that link works. But that's the link I just copied and pasted in. Okay, so we do have CPI data to be released for the Swiss. I'm not, you know, I don't trade the Swiss, so I'm not too concerned about that, especially for the month to month. From 0.1 to 0, looks like it might stay there. I don't expect a big change in the Swiss franc because of this news. 10 p.m. tonight, we do have the ECB President Lagarde speaking at the about monetary policy at the Academy of Moral and Political Science in Paris might bring about some weakness on the euro, given that we might see some comments about a rate cut or no more rate hikes. So we might see some weakness on the euro because of this news later tonight. And then on to tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. we do have the Aussie interest rate decision. So RBA with their interest rate decision, you can see that just in November they hiked rates from 4.1% to 4.35% as expected. Right now looks like they're going to keep rates on hold at 4.35, given that inflation data has shown that big drop, that first spike, or the spike late October. Late October looks like a bit of a blip, a spike up, now coming back down again. So it looks like they might hold it at 4.35%. Not expecting them to talk about a rate cut, but they're possibly going to hold rates and then comment that further adjustments will take on further adjustments if required. Okay, so that's the main things to look out for now until the next time we speak. With that said, then looking at the dollar. Hey Angel Case, how you doing? Hey Don Miguel, good to see you. I did have a great weekend. Hope you had a great weekend too. Jordan says Bitcoin halving is in April. Yeah, okay. You know what? I might actually do some reading on that and do up some writing on that about the Bitcoin halving as well. Okay. I don't think that this. Let me see Bitcoin. That this big push, or is well above 40,000 right now. This big push up on Bitcoin is because of the halving. I think it's also because of some legislation approval or possible approvals on legislation that's going to adopt more trading, or to adopt trading on Bitcoin a bit more acceptably. So that's showing that push or that acceptance and that hawkishness to the upside. Okay, but yes, halving could also be one of the reasons that it leads to this upside on Bitcoin. Then back to the charts, back to the dollar index so that did not push up, or pushed up but did not sustain the upside, came back down, tested 50% here, which is that trend line. Let me take this away. All right, so we were saying that it's going to consolidate along this range to come down to test 103. It did that. It came down, tested 103.05, and then bounced back up again. 61.8 in this case is done. So we can take that one away. I want to check this. So we caught that, so we moved that fib level up. You see that it tested 50%, well and truly tested 50%. Let's see, 61.8 is a bit far away, so we don't need that. We keep that one there. Bounced off. 23.6 is not valid on that. Let me just double check. So we can take away 23.6 because that's been broken already. Okay, the next level is up there. And we take that one away. Okay, so now we have this view. All right, we have this view of the dollar index. It is still, you can see, trending to the downside. All right, it's still trending to the downside. We don't need all that levels. Put 38.2, keep 38.2 there. All right, it's still trending to the downside. I don't think a trend line or a trend line like that would still work. Okay, a trend line like to the downside would still work. We're seeing that push back up. Let me zoom in a bit to adjust this trend line. We're seeing that still hold. Okay, so that's where we have, that's what we have on the dollar at this point. 23 is done, 50 is still valid. Okay, I don't need this line at the bottom for now. Take that away. We catch this one as a low point there. All right, so now with that, does that make sense? The whole setup on the dollar right now. It is trading. I think that it's going to fluctuate within this range, right? But remember, the overall sentiment, the overall feel for the dollar is that we're looking at more downside because of the sentiment that, you know, no more rate hikes, and definitely no more rate, or most likely no more rate hikes, and also maybe starting to price in some rate cut scenarios. Looking at the CME Fed Watch 2, you'd see that we've gone down. We've gone down quite significantly, right? It was, I think, about 4% over, yeah. On the 27th, it was 4%. It dropped down now to 2.3% chance of a rate hike. 97.7% chance looking to hold at the current level. This is for the 13th of December meeting. Then, if we look at January, you'd see that again, we're currently here, small chance of a rate hike, 2% chance of a hike, slowly increasing chance of a cut. Again, in March, you see more chances of a cut, hold to a cut. Again, in May, really scaling towards the side of a rate cut. Okay, that's why we're looking at possibly March to May. To go further out in June, we're looking at quite a significant cut, but I don't see that happening, but we're looking at that chances with almost zero chance of a hike. So we're well and seem to be well and truly off the rate hike path. Now it's holding, it's waiting, it's looking at the data, seeing if inflation is dropping or slowing down sustainably towards that rate cut scenario. And so because of that, we're looking maybe not so much upside on the dollar moving forward. Right now at 103.34, I would anticipate that it could push up a little bit, but we're still looking for that push to the downside, break below this level to trade lower. Okay, I like that triangle I managed to do it last time round. Right, you do have that little bit of a gap here. That it's a bit of a waiting. You don't have to rush into it. Right, we want to see what happens in this area before it breaks down, and before you could see a more sustained move to the downside. So what I'm looking out for here today, being the 4th of December, on the dollar index, I'm looking for it to maybe retest 103.55. Right, I'm looking for it to retest 103.55, which is also the trend line, before trading lower. Needs to break 103 support before reaching 102.50. Okay, now to reach. There we go. Okay, so what it means here is that we could see this push up a bit, test that 103.55 trend line before pushing back down, trading lower. Needs to break this trend line and also that 50% level, which is in this area, only below 103 support, then we could see it, only if it trades below this level, then we could see it come down towards 102.50. Okay, so that's the idea for the dollar index. I think, yeah, that makes sense. We'll do that. We'll keep with that. Katoka is asking, good morning. What do you think for Bitcoin is fake pump and is ready for a strong sell or going up again? I think it's most likely going to continue to the upside. I don't think it's a fake pump. Typically a fake pump doesn't last so long. It's a big spike up and then a big retrace. So I do think that in this case we might be looking at a continuation to the upside. So now again back to the dollar index, looking at this, a bit of a push up before maybe more downside, maybe more weakness on the dollar. This was what we were looking at, yes, on Friday, did not happen, take that away. 61.8 still valid, it's doing that. We're looking at more up, possibly more upside on the Kiwi, right? More upside on the Kiwi because a bit of strength on the dollar before that weakness coming back into play. So what I would, that's too near there. What we could be looking at is a bit of a consolidation or test and rebound back up. Okay, just want to make sure that these lines make sense. We have these 2 points here. I'm happy with that. I would catch that one, that area there, which is 0.63, is that right there? And then think about that point as a bit of a possible level. All right, I'm happy with that one there. Okay, so coming back to the present, looking at this, we're looking for it to test and bounce. One idea might be, and I don't like this, so one idea might be a test and a bounce. You'd say about a 20 pip stop loss, right? You got a good 40 pips to the upside. You could do that. The bit more patient approach would be to look for it to break above that resistance 6230, 6235. Stop loss about 65 pips. No, take profit 65 pips, stop loss about 20 pips. I would prefer that compared to this one. This one just might come down, bounce a bit, and then we see a lot of levels here, so I don't like that too much. I prefer this view, so I'll move that first and move that to the side. Okay, there we go. So I prefer this view that it might bounce, but we're looking for it to break above that resistance, push up before we see that upside. So 6235, 20 to 65. Looking for the Kiwi. So buy 0.6235, stop loss 20, take profit 65 to the upside. Okay. Analyze gold. Late Desiree is asking about gold. Spike to 21.49. Morning now back down to 20.75. Yep, we will look at that. We will look at that. I'm just thinking whether it could break out, but could have a chance, but it looks a bit unlikely. We'll see how that goes. Then with that Aussie dollar, all right, thought that was going to hit and turn back down. It went up and then it came back down before pushing back up again. So I did not get into that trade because it happened quite quickly. So at 6 o'clock it came back down. If you did get into that trade, you would be on a 20 pip stop loss there. But what happened on the dollar, on the Aussie dollar, was it did push up, test 0.6690, now turning back down a bit. I want to catch this level here, which is the 61.8 that we saw was tested on Thursday. And then this point is up there, so I would say about that point there. Okay, now looking like it's pushing a bit to the downside again. I am a little bit more concerned about the Aussie, just because it seems to be a bit toppish. What I mean by it seems to be a bit toppish, you see a push up, a test, and then quick retrace, or quick, not correction, but a quick retrace back down again. Now tested higher, now looking like it's pushing back down. Remember that we do have Aussie RBA rates decision tomorrow at 11:30 GMT plus 8. What we're looking at here on the Aussie, if I looked at that, it's approaching 50. I want to think about the chance whether it could push back down, right? Because if tomorrow's interest rate decision is held at 4.35 with comments that they're not looking at further rate hikes for now, we might see that push back down. One consideration, 6610. So I look for that. I can have a, I look for 6610. I can have a tight stop loss of about 20 pips down to the support at 85. That's a thought. That's a thought. Because back to the H4 time frame, you look at it, if the Aussie does push up, it would be approaching the August levels, and I don't see why it should push up that much, apart from if the dollar does weaken significantly, then we could see that push higher. It all comes down to this guy that's pushing back up a little bit. I would keep that as an option, right? Not so much because of the dollar strength. So if the Aussie does come down and test and break, it wouldn't be breaking so much driven by the dollar strength scenario. It'll be more because of Aussie weakness in terms of their monetary policy decisions from the RBA. Pushing back down. I'll keep that as an option, and I can always update you guys again on Discord if on the lead up to the RBA rate decision something changes. We can always update there. So for now, it will be 6610, 20 to 85 to the downside. Okay, 6610, 20 to 85 to the downside for the Aussie. This is with the RBA decision pending. All right, we see that pushing up. That's fine. I'm happy with that. So we're looking for this to come down, test that trend line, break that trend line, and push lower down towards this support level here at 6520. That would be good. I would like to see that. Hey Jamil, how you doing? Then on to the yen, right? Don't know whether you guys remember on the yen, I was telling you on Friday that when it was sitting right there, zoom in a bit, when it was sitting right, where was it? There. I was saying, yeah, if it breaks to the upside, we can look to buy. Obviously, that did not happen. Take that away. So 61.8 holding strong, but I would only look to sell down if it breaks past that equal low towards the support level there. So it came quite close, but we said, you know, it's not worth doing that trade to the downside, because if you looked at that, there was only a 50 pip, at the best 50 pip, 55 maybe, take profit, quite tight after waiting that much, right? So it came down, and I think we were saying if it breaks that support, then we'll look to sell. So it came down, bounced back up now. That support is now a resistance. And I'm looking at this point. I'll still keep that resistance level there, despite how easily it broke out. It broke through this level. I'll still keep that because of what happened here on the 21st of November, on the 3rd of October, and on the 21st of September. Okay, and you see that this level here at 146, I know I'm messing it, but okay, at 146 is quite a strong level, because if I drag that right across, you see that it came up, tested this area, and then rose, came down, tested this area again, and pushed strongly to the upside. So for any breakdown on the yen, Swiss franc just spiked up. Okay, we'll check on that. Small, relatively small spike. We'll look at that shortly. For any breakdown on the yen, what needs to happen first is it needs to break below 146. This is a level that I will watch with great attention. 146 as a round number support level. We've seen that tested. It needs to break below that point before we're going to see more downside, with the next level down at 144.60. Okay, so back to the H1 again. What we're looking for here, let's check the news on the Swiss. Okay, CPI, that's why D-Train was saying Swiss franc just spiked up a lot lower than I expected there at minus 0.2 for the CPI for the Swiss franc, and that's why we're seeing the franc push up from 8710 up to 8734. Still, it's only about a 20 pip move to the upside. Not super excited at this point. Okay. Jamil, are you talking about the yen with the head and shoulder pattern? It would be at best an inverted head and shoulder, right? And I wouldn't consider it too much, but shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder there with the neckline there. So a bit of an inverted head and shoulder possible. Right, and remember that we're looking at a bit of strength on the dollar. So what I'm looking out for here on the yen would be for it to rise up, test that resistance, and then push back down again. Okay, and then ultimately, like I was saying before, what's going to happen here at 146. So idea for yen in this case would be 147.20. Stop loss very tight here, no more than 25. Take profit could be down to that 100. Okay, 100, 105 thereabouts. So we're looking for that. Or if it just sits there and it pushes right back down, then we could be looking to sell down from below 106, 146. So 145.90, stop loss 30 pips, take profit will be a good 125 to the downside. Again, yen is always high on my list. Did very well on the yen last month, hoping for that to continue. Right now looking for that retracement. Okay, so yen, I'm looking for it to retrace, test that resistance of 147.30, reject and sell down. So 147, I'll go a bit lower actually. 147, 15, 20, 30 pips to 100 pips. Okay, so for the yen, we're looking for a possible retracement. We're only going to look to sell on 147.15. Stop loss about 30 pips, take profit about 105 to the downside. 147, 15, 30 to 100, no, okay, so not 105 to 100 to the downside. Okay, I always have a typo on yen, I don't know why, so I'm just double checking right now. Okay, good. Yep, look for that to push up, test, reject, sell back down, makes sense. If that doesn't work, if it sits in consolidation and breaks down, then looking to sell below 149, 145, looking to sell below 145, 90, 30 to 125. That makes sense as well. Okay, then with the pound dollar. So remember pound dollar, we were looking at it, sitting at that resistance, we say, hey, there's a possible straddle here, right? Buying opportunity, selling opportunity, looking for a breakout to do that. What happened on the pound? It spiked down, did not trigger that sell to the downside, take that away, reverse right at that equal low there, just this whole area here, right? Reverse from this point, push back up. Did manage to catch this trade, but I got out at about 51 pips at 2 a.m. on Friday morning. Friday morning, 2 a.m. was a late trading day for me there, heading to the weekend. So closed out, went to bed. Didn't want to try for that 61 pips, but it did hit early this morning, right? But I'm happy with securing the profits before the weekend. Anyone got onto the pound dollar? Jamil, do you get on the pound dollar? Let me know. Or anyone else? Let me know. Now, let me just check this. 38.2 is broken, we take that one away. 50 is right there. Jamil, you sold it down and you're selling now, or you sold it, or are you selling it now? 50% is right there. Checking this level. I might update this level. And I would actually update this level to this point here. To this point here. So that's my resistance, that's my support. I got my 50% here. So I would say that this whole thing here is my support area. All right, my support area for the pound dollar. The next one here, I want to revise this and catch this point, this lows here. Okay, so now just double checking on this. Just double checking on this, it's ranging. So pound dollar is ranging right, well, since November 27th. It's been ranging, looking like it might stay in that range. All right, we don't have any UK news. One member speaking. No other. Governor Bailey speaking. CAD statement and rates on Wednesday. Okay, so looking at this on the pound dollar, it looks like it's going to stay in that range. Right now at 1.266667, could trade down towards the support, but not worth looking for a sell down right? There's only a good 40 pips to the downside. It's right in the middle of that support and resistance. So your stop loss becomes a little bit flaky. If you check 15 minutes chart, this break pivot with a strong candle, 15 minutes. Breaking the pivot with a strong candle to the downside, yes. You could scalp it down, but I think if on the idea of a 1 hour time frame, 1 hour kind of setup, what I would be looking for is a reaction along that support level. Right, so yes, I do think that there is an opportunity. You could trade it down, but what I'm looking for is a possible bounce from this support level. Right, possible bounce from this support. It's bouncing right now actually. If it goes right back up, I wouldn't do anything. Right, if it goes right back up, I wouldn't do anything at that point. I'm only looking for it to come down and bounce because we are thinking that dollar might strengthen before pushing back down again. So I'm looking for this to push, dollar strengthen, before that weakness coming back into play. So with that, looking to buy it up, 1.2625, stop loss 25 pips, take profit right back up about 90. I could go all the way, but you see that it becomes quite weak as it comes very near to that resistance. So I just want to catch it right at that point. So about 90 pips, so 25 to 90. So 1.2625, stop loss 25, take profit 90, back up in the range, right? So pound dollar is ranging. We're looking to buy at 1.2625. 1.2625, stop loss 20, take profit 90 to the upside. Am I right? 25 to 90, okay. Stop loss 25, take profit 90, back up. There we go. Alrighty. Relatively straightforward. Okay. Then on to the euro. Nice channel on the pound dollar H4. Let's have a look at that. Thanks for that, Jordan. H4 on the pound dollar. I have too many lines. I'm going to clear out some of these lines soon. We have that. Let me try and fit that channel in. Something like that. Does break out a little bit. We could catch that points. That's a bit of a break. This would be the line of best fit. Yeah, and if that comes around, if that, based on that channel, then we might not see it drop as much. We might not see it drop as much to that support. It might just come down towards 1.2650, which is about 20 pips away, right? So I'm still looking in that area, but I would like to see that test. I think even that as a channel, drawing a new channel, that would make sense as well. So looking at that, I would look for that bounce. But yeah, there is a nice channel there on the pound dollar to the upside. Right, firstly a horizontal range, but we're looking at it trending or trading within the channel to the upside. Thanks for spotting that, Jordan. Now H1 on the euro dollar, pushing back down. Anyone caught this on the euro? I did not catch this on the euro. I was super busy with gold, trading gold to the upside. I caught the pound and I was just scalping away on gold. So anyone caught the euro to the downside there? Good 40, almost 50 pip move to the downside, and continuing right now. Okay, So that was a good move lower. Now taking this all the way, you see that it came just below 38.2 and then push back down again. Right, so move to the downside, retrace this morning to just about 38.2 and this level here at 108.88. We can even see that point there. So that whole area now pushing back down again. Okay, so that's my resistance. Now at this point, again, what's going to happen, or what looks like is happening now, is we are seeing that dollar strength right now. Okay, and that again looks like where we were yesterday, not yesterday, on Friday, right about that point there. We're looking at some dollar strength before, and then it started crashing back down again. Now we're looking at the dollar strength. It might push up a little bit higher. Right, it might push up a little bit higher. Maybe even to that point of 103.66. But we're still looking at a overall downside move on the dollar. Okay, so we're still looking for it to test, let's say 65, thereabouts. Okay, to test and then look for the dollar weakness to come back into play. Jamil opened the second trade on the pound. I'm guessing to sell down. Okay. Now euro dollar, what I'm looking out for is the reaction at this point here. 1.0830. Right, the last few times it bounced off this level, we saw a good strong push to the upside. Right now, testing this point. Remember that we do have President Lagarde speaking, maybe going to bring about some weakness onto the euro. Right, especially if she comments about no further rate hikes, or possibly looking at some rate cuts, or some comments about it, or passing that sentiment. What I would think about as an alternate scenario here on the euro would be 1.0820, 20 pip stop, 50 pip take to the downside. Right, just a continuation of the downside on the euro. You see that we do see that big downward pressure being applied on the euro. So looking for that to continue lower. Okay, so 1.0820, 20 to 50 for the euro dollar. 1.0820, stop loss 20, take profit 50 to the downside. Okay, so what you see here is a dollar weakness scenario on the Kiwi. We're looking to buy it up. Dollar strength scenario, or not dollar strength, RBA scenario for the Aussie. We're looking to sell it down. We're looking at some strength on the dollar to push it up, push the US yen up, but then looking for that weakness to come back into play so that we can sell it down. And then on the pound dollar, it's ranging, so we're looking at the dollar strength, pushing it down towards that support before we're looking to buy it back up. Euro dollar, in this case, we're looking at the dollar. What if it continues pushing to the upside, that dollar strength all the way, then we could be looking to sell the euro down. Okay, so we're covering our bases there in terms of possible setups. Now on to the Swiss. Found a good strong level here, bounced right back up because of the CPI data that was just released at minus 0.2%. coming back up to that resistance. I don't need that as a support, I need that one as a support. Right, so I've got this as my support area because of this point here and this point here. Now approaching that 61.8 level, and if I took that trend line, still makes sense, and drag it right across that way, we're looking for it to break. Right, so this is again if we see that sustained dollar strength come back into play, or sustained weakness on the Swiss franc, then looking for it to break above 61.8, and also that previous high that we saw on Friday. Above those points, you could be looking for some upside on the Swiss franc. 8785, stop loss about 20 pips. Take profit about 40 pips, back up towards that resistance level again. Okay, so 8785, so we're looking to buy 0.878, 8785, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the upside. Okay, with that, yes, so Diana with a request on the Swiss yen, we can look at that, but first we're looking at this thinking that we're going to see some weakness on the Swissy. We're looking at some weakness on the Swissy, especially with the CPI data having been released. Then on the yen, we're looking at that pushing up because of some of the dollar strength, brief dollar strength, possibly brief dollar strength. So looking at the Swiss yen, right, Swiss weaker because of that CPI data, pushing down below this support level, resistance turn support level. Even if we just caught the most recent level there. All right, so at 167.90 right now. We can take that away. That did not work out. That trend line, if we have that level there, could come down to this point. If I took that one there, we come close, and then that could bounce off because we're looking at Swiss getting weaker, so that's pushing that down, but the yen is losing ground against the US dollar. See that pushing back up, so it's a bit conflicted. So what I'm looking at here is, and you can see the Bollinger, it's way outside. What we're looking for in this case now would be a retest and then maybe a back down again, right, for it to maybe not retest that much. I want to see what's going to happen at this trend line here. I want to see what happens at this trend line here on the Swiss yen, right? Because what I think could happen is a bounce back up on the yen weakness, on the Swiss franc coming weak. I don't see that as being much sustained. We see that pushing back up, so I'm actually looking for that push, maybe a bounce off this trend line 167.75, about a 50 pip, tight stop 25. We'll be looking for something like that back up on the Swiss yen. What's your view on that, Diana? Does that kind of align with what you're looking out for? Do let me know. And Jamil with my first trade of 30 pips in profit and second in profit as well. Well done. That's the pound dollar for Jamil to the downside on that move low, I think. So that's a good trade. Take those away. Too many lines. So we're still looking for that to push down on the pound dollar. Then onto the CAD, right? Take that away. CAD pushing back up now. You see the dollar pushed up, now looking like a bit of a retrace. This almost happens like clockwork. We see a 3 o'clock push, we see a 4 o'clock retrace or sit there, and then a bit of a continuation before a big retrace back down again. So what I'm looking out here on the CAD is you see that this level is good, but more recently, if we look at this point here, right, more recently at this point here is my resistance. So what I'm looking out for here would be, you see that big downward push, right, would be a test and reject or rejection of this resistance area. Support turned to resistance area. We're looking for a rejection at this point. Might push up a little bit before turning back down. So we're looking for that kind of move, which would form a bit of a double top as well. Okay, so why that double top, or with that double top, we'll be looking for about 1.3530, about 25 pip stop loss. You'd have your first level at 50, right? Your first point here at about 50 pips. And then you could even be looking for a big 125 to the downside. You could also have a bit of a level there. I don't think you'll go a full 125, no big reason for it to do that. I think 80 would be reasonable. Okay, so I'm looking for a test and reject of the resistance. Selling down 1.3530, stop loss 25, take profit 80 with a hesitation there as well. Where am I? Okay, so we're looking to sell 1.3530, 25 to 80. 1.3530, stop loss 25, take profit 80 to the downside. I will message you on Discord with that. Yep, sure, do that. Send me analysis on Discord about the US, about the Swiss franc and yen. Nicola with US yen is close to the sell order. Not yet. Still a while more. It's climbing up. So what's happened here is that it's pushing to the upside. You don't want to be, you won't. What I intend, or what I mean by this setup is not that you're looking to sell once price, I'll zoom in a bit, right? I'm not looking to sell once price gets to 147.15, right? I'm looking to sell when price goes past 147.15, test 147.30, rejects and sell down. Only when it rejects and turns down from 147.30 down to 147.15, then we'll be looking to sell. So it's too early right now. We're only looking for a test and then only look to sell when it turns back down. All right, Nicola, hope that makes sense. Done that one already. Then on to gold. Look at that. All right, so gold big. Someone was selling gold on Discord. If you're on the session, let me know. Someone was selling gold at 121.10, I think. So gold big spike up, right? What happened on Friday? I think we were chatting, a couple of us, on Discord on late Friday night. I think I was buzzing away. Right, I was scalping this up. I was trading this all the way up till 2 a.m. and then I thought, right, is that my resistance? You know, I'm not gonna figure whether it's gonna go any further. Close out my trades. That's it. Close out my pound dollar. 2 o'clock Saturday morning. I thought, great day of trading. That's it. Weekend. Signed off, and then early this morning, lo and behold, I was so surprised to see this 7 a.m. Monday morning went from 2071 right up to 2149.9, filled just shy of 2150 and came all the way back down and then right back down now. So again, remember, this was way outside of Bollinger. We had a lot of selling pressure, pulling it right back down to the Bollinger and right back down again. Now that retracement, okay, so we'll do this. We'll take away these lines because it's no longer valid. Okay, and then just based on, you're most welcome there, Nicola. Got 150 profits on gold. I think you were selling it down. Very nice. I just refused to sell it down. I was just waiting for it to retrace and look to buy it back up. All right, so let's put these levels in. You see that just based on that move up, it's retraced right back down past 61.8, right at that 70.6 level. Right, this is, well, it was a resistance, it was a support, now it's back to a resistance level. It's going to be a crucial level at 2070. Okay, what I want to show you as well is if you look at it on the monthly time frame. No, let's do daily instead. All right, right out, and if I just took this 2070 level and drag it right across, right, you see that we saw this level tested and rejected on the 7th of August. We saw this level tested and rejected on the 7th of March. And we saw this level, oh wait, this was 7th of August 2020. All right, this was 7th of March 2022. This was 4th of May 2023. I was hoping that was the 7th. That'd be amazing. But it came today on the 4th of December 2023, spiked right out of that historic high, 2-year historic high on gold, spiked out. I'm sure it collected a lot of sell orders at this point because it's failed to break past that point. So once it got right out, broke right out, collected all that sell, now retracing back down. The question here is that this looks to be forming on the daily time frame. This looks to be forming a bit of a pin bar, or looks to be forming a pin bar right now. Okay, let me just take away some of these lines. This is on the daily time frame. So on the H4, coming right back down, looking at this trend line, extending it right across. Back to the H1, you see that we should be taking away a couple of these lines. Just want to take away the overlaps. Don't need that as well. Right? Sometimes having too many lines is the worst thing. Okay, we can take that away. We can keep that point there. Or we can take that one away. We can keep that point there as a support. That one's we can keep, and that one we can keep. Okay, so now we have that. test, reject, coming back down. Question is what's going to happen at this point. I do think that there might be further retracements. All right, if you did that, just for that whole upward trend, you see that it could come back down to that 50% level. Right, and that is also important because it's at that point a big retrace. Is that momentum going to continue pulling it back down, or is it going to find 50 right there and then bounce back up? So what I would do on gold is, if you are happy to do a counter trend, if you're happy to sell into a uptrend scenario, then yes, maybe you could be looking to trade it down, maybe down to 2040 level. But what I'll be looking for is, whether it's going to come down towards this level and test and bounce back up. Okay, so in terms of gold, what I want to see is let me just check something. Okay, I possibly want to see that reaction there. So gold could continue to retrace down to 2050 level. Look for bounce to buy up to, bounce to buy up to 2070. Right? On Friday we were saying wide consolidation between 2036 and 2050. We saw 2050. We saw that 2050 level. Once it broke out, it was relatively straightforward. You traded up towards that resistance. So right now, retracing. I want to see it retrace. Could it retrace and find 50% and also that trend line? If it holds, then I'll be looking for that bounce back up again. Okay. Does that make sense? We covered quite a bit today because of the overall movements that we saw on Friday. Did it all make sense? Let me know, put it into the chat. If you can help me out massively, do click that like and subscribe button. And the link for the Discord channel is coming up again. If you haven't already, do make sure you join us on Discord. Looking forward to share your trade ideas on Discord as well. Looking forward to that. I can give you my viewpoints on that. And for now, see you on Discord. If not, then trade well, trade safe. I'll see you all I will see you all tomorrow. There's no session tomorrow. I have some other appointments on tomorrow. Just forgot that. Just remembered about that. So remember, no session tomorrow, but we will be back on Wednesday. We'll be back on Wednesday. So no session tomorrow. But I will still be available on Discord. If you have any questions, do let me know. So trade well, trade safe. Take care now. Bye-bye.